Happy Ironman Day! We're staying kind of far, so got to be up at the boutique rack. I'm so nervous. Using 3 elastics just to be safe. I can't care too much about how this looks because I'm gonna put a swim cap on it and a helmet and a hat. So like, it is just to get through the day and hopefully not have the most insane rat's nest you've ever seen. But I'm sure that I will. Obviously some sunscreen for my face. I'm gonna be popping in to provide context and give my race recap as you are seeing what I am talking about. So we were up at 3 in the morning because we were staying an hour away from where the race was actually taking place, and the transition area was open from, I believe, 4:30 to 6, and I wanted to be there on the earlier end, especially with road closures and finding parking and everything, which meant we needed to leave our hotel room at 3:30. So at 3 a.m. I was up, I was getting ready, and I was clearly losing my mind a little bit, dancing to no music, hyping myself up, having a time of all times. I literally brought my toaster from home and my favorite like pre-workout food because I knew that hotel breakfast would not be open. So cut the ciabatta in half, put that in the toaster. Just for a second. Okay, then these little butter packets that I got from downstairs. Stole these from the hotel breakfast yesterday. Some honey. Bon appetit. Also, before we left the hotel, I wanted to eat breakfast. I wasn't hungry, but before all my big training, I had been having a ciabatta, butter, and honey, and that had been sitting well with my stomach, so I wanted to have it again, and then hopefully that would kind of kickstart my digestion. So I brought my toaster from home, and I made my toast, ate that before we got in the car. Then at 3:30, we headed over to the race start. We had that hour drive, so I was listening to absolute bangers. Also in the car, I had a raspberry green tea, non-carbonated Celsius. Those are my absolute favorite, and I like the non-carbonated before a race because it doesn't upset my stomach. Can they see me?
Yeah.
I'm walking to drop off my personal needs bags, and I'm gonna put like water bottles on my bike, pump my tires, and then that's it.
We've been to some, but I don't know about this.
My dad's on a bunch of Victoria!
Once we got to the town center for the race, I had to drop off my personal needs bags. So those are the bags that you get halfway through the bike and halfway through the run if you need them. I used both of them. It's where I replaced my gels, so I didn't have to bring everything in my pockets. I also kept a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in there, some extra electrolytes for the run, just anything that you might need since the day is really long, and you drop those off in the morning. So we went to the drop-off spots, left those where they needed to go, and then I went into the transition area where Corbett wasn't able to go. Okay, I'm going in.
All right, I'll meet you back here.
Okay. All right. I put my water bottles on my bike so that I didn't have to do that the night before. I also added my Garmin computer, which I've been charging overnight, and I added a couple things to my bags, like some sunscreen, which I had forgotten the day before. And out my truck is.
Big annual butt twins. The wetsuit struggles.
From there, we walked down to the swim start. I was eating this bag of nerd clusters because I didn't want to be hungry since I had eaten at 3 a.m. and I wasn't getting in the water till like 6:45. So I was just eating these nerd clusters to like keep something in my stomach and have additional energy. At this point, I handed my camera over to Corbett. He got the best clips. Watching them back, I was genuinely emotional seeing the day from their perspective. Just how proud they were of me made me feel like I wanted to cry.
Oh, go!
Yeah. much exactly what I wanted it to be. I was aiming for like 2 minute per 100-yard pace. I'm not the best swimmer, I'm not the worst swimmer. At Ironman Lake Placid, there's this wire that goes right through the swim course so that you don't really need to sight much, but everyone is always fighting to be on that line, and I didn't really want to have an aggressive swim, so I swam outside of the wire, which definitely added a little bit of distance, but for me was worth it, just knowing that I would be left alone. The swim this year was definitely a little more aggressive than last year, despite being outside of the wire, but I was still happy with how the entire thing went. I think I did like a 123, 124, which I believe is 2 minute pace, and was just slightly faster than last year, so I was really happy with that.
Alex! What? Woo! You got it, girl!
When I got out of the water, it's like a 0.3 mile run to get from the swim to bike transition. And last year I was just had all this adrenaline and I really didn't give myself a second to breathe. So this year I really wanted to make sure that I calmed down, took a breath, let my heart rate settle so I was not going nearly as fast heading into transition, just really taking a second to calm down. My transition was a little slower than I would have liked it to be, but I also, like I said, was trying to bring my heart rate back down.
Get it, girl! Get it, girl!
Then I headed onto the bike. My goal for the bike was to go under 7 hours, which is a 16 mile per hour pace. The Ironman Lake Placid course has over 7,000 feet of climbing, and last year I did it in like 7 hours and 40 minutes. I was not super happy with that time. I just felt like my training didn't reflect in 7 hours and 40 minutes. So this year I knew it was ambitious and it would be a huge jump from last year, but I really wanted to do it in under 7 hours.
Woo! Yeah, boy! All right.
I came through the first loop in 3 hours and 20 minutes. The first 30 miles of the loop are not that hard. The back 26 are extremely hard. So I was trying to be super conservative going up hills and then really push my pace on all of the flats. Also the descents, the first time through, I did not touch my brakes, which I was really proud of because I'm very scared when it comes to descents. And if you know the Lake Placid course, the Keene descent is very steep. So I was ultimately really happy with how that first loop went. I felt like I was focused. I felt like I was riding really smart.
Alex! Oh, she looks great.
I did a super quick personal needs pit stop at 56 miles and then I headed into loop 2. It was slightly slower than loop 1, but it still felt pretty good. I started having some back pain, but I just was praying to God that he would take away my back pain, and I really do think that that helped. Obviously my neck was a little sore too from being an aero, but ultimately I felt pretty strong, except in loop 2 we got a hailstorm and the sky opened up for probably an hour, I would say, and it just so happened to be when I was going down the Keene descent the second time. So I was white knuckling, gripping my brakes, being pelted with hail that actually hurt my skin, and I was freezing cold. This was probably the only moment that stole my spirit for a second. Like, I felt like my spirit was broken. This was the only moment of the whole day where I let some doubt creep into my mind and I was like, how am I gonna do this? I am really struggling. Once the rain cleared up, I was in high spirits again. I was totally fine. I just didn't have the forecast with me on the bike, obviously, so I didn't know if the rain was like ever expected to stop. And yes, it was gritty and I was gonna keep going no matter what, but I was uncomfortable and I was really hoping that it was gonna go away. In hindsight though, I would take rain over scorching heat, and we ended up having a beautiful rest of the day, nice and cool. So it did help, but in that moment, it was horrible. Towards the end of the second loop, it started to look like sub 7 was gonna be out of reach, and I was so disappointed. So I really put it into high gear at the end and ended up coming through at like a 6:54, which I was stoked about. So that was first goal of the day achieved.
Hey, sub 7. Yeah. Sub 7.
At this point, I was ready for the run. I had been itching for it. I've been training my running so hard and I just wanted to see what I could do. I had a pretty quick transition getting into the run. It was like 4 or 5 minutes, which I was stoked about. I changed my socks, and I had been looking forward to changing my socks the entire bike ride. Like, all I could think about is dry socks, dry socks, dry socks. So changing into dry socks was just the best feeling ever. And then I took off on this run. I felt like my heart rate was really high. I had all this adrenaline. So for the first few minutes, I was trying to settle back in, catch my breath, bring my heart rate down.
The weather was crazy.
You see me telling my family about how crazy the weather on the bike ride was because I just could not get over how insane that hailstorm was. And then I just settled into this run. For the first loop, I was trying to keep my heart rate like 150, 145 so that I knew I wouldn't blow up cardiovascularly. Obviously, physically and in my legs is a whole different story, but I wanted to keep my breathing under control. And then the second loop, all bets were off. I also just was not going to let myself walk, not an aid station, not a hill, because I know for me personally and in my mind, if I negotiate with myself and I give myself just a couple of steps, I'm like, if you give a mouse, what is it? If you give a mouse a cookie? If you give a mouse a cookie? I don't remember, but like if I take a couple of steps, I'm gonna want more and more steps, and then it's gonna be hard for me to like get back in the groove. So I was locked in. I had a handheld water bottle, and the only time I ever took a pause was to refill my handheld water bottle at one of the aid stations, which probably took me 15 seconds, and then I was right back to it. I think I settled into like a 9-minute pace. On the hills, I was doing more of like a 10-minute pace, and then my overall was a 9:25, which I am so beyond stoked with that run time. I can't even explain. Last year, my dad came to visit me, and it was my stretch goal to do a sub 2-hour half marathon with him, and it was one of the hardest runs of my life. And when I got through the first loop and I realized that I had done a sub 2-hour half marathon after that swim, after that bike, in an Ironman, and I was keeping the pace for the second loop, I was so genuinely impressed with myself and my progress. Running used to be so hard for me. 3 years ago, I could probably run 3 miles at like a 10 or 11-minute pace, which is amazing. But now to be able to do my fastest marathon ever, a 9:25 pace at the end of an Ironman, like it was not clocking to me that I was doing that, but I just kept going. I kept my mind so strong. I was definitely struggling, but you couldn't have paid me $1 million to give in at that point.
Let's go, Alex! Hey, Alex! Keep going, you're killing it! Killing it! Go, Alex! Keep going,
Probably around mile 20, I met this guy, Jack, and having somebody to run with just kept me in it. It kept me sane just to have somebody that like I chatted with a little bit and we ran all these hills together, motivating each other was so helpful. My other big goal of the day, which I thought was a major stretch goal, was to break 13 hours and finish in the daylight. And when I realized that I would have to basically crawl to not break 13 hours, I was stoked. I just wanted to leave it all out on the course. I didn't want there to be anything that I could have done. I wanted to finish and know genuinely like that was the absolute fastest I could have gone, not 1 second quicker. And let me tell you, I feel that way. And yes, I finished in the daylight. I did a 12:41, which is like an hour and 50-minute PR from what I did last year. My run was about an hour faster, and I could not be more excited. Like finishing in the daylight was such a joy. The whole day, I felt like it was perfect. I felt like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it just never did. Like the only thing in the entire day that wasn't absolute perfection was the weather for about an hour on the bike. And I think that in the scheme of things, the rain actually cooled the day down, which was ultimately helpful. So I'll take it.
Let's do this. Yep, let's go, Alex. See you at the finish. See you at the finish. Oh yeah. Mind if I just no. Thanks so much.
What please our next winner? From there, North Carolina, will be open. You are coming down.
I just
just got back to our hotel. We got pizza. My grandma got us a pizza. So I'm eating floor pizza and I'm trying to brush out my hair, which is like insane. I don't even think, I already started brushing out this side, but you can just tell. So that's where we're at. I think I need to cut my hair ties out, to be honest. We're gonna go to the award ceremony tomorrow and oh, that's it, which is back in Lake Placid, so we have to leave here at like 8 and we have to get breakfast before the hotel lobby, so too early for a girl who just did an Ironman, okay? But I'll be up. Anyways, all that being said, I need to go to bed. I'm like honestly delusional, but thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna do a full recap tomorrow on the whole day. Stay tuned. Okay. Good night. Thank you so much for watching my race day video. If you have any questions about the course, comment them and I would be happy to help if you are planning on doing Lake Placid in the future, or if you just have any general Ironman questions, I'm happy to answer those as well. This was one of the greatest days, honestly, of my life. I couldn't be prouder of myself. And yeah, I just appreciate your support. Content will be continuing because I'm doing IRONMAN Chattanooga on September 28th, so don't go anywhere, but feel free to like and subscribe and stick around for the rest of my training.